Hello, everybody. Hi. Happy Zen Mondays. It's been about 3 weeks. I was on a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and I am back, and I wanted to do a quick Zen Mondays about it. I'm thinking I may do a longer non-live video on YouTube, but I wanted to get started on my 10-day silent retreat. What I learned, it was literally 10 days of silence, no phone, no books, no journaling, nothing. And then meditated. We meditated I probably meditated on average 10 to 12 hours a day. So let's get started. Let me make a little change here. If you guys are just logging in, welcome. Let's see. I am live on Facebook and Instagram. I just wanted to make a little tag here. Here we go. Okay, so basically, I usually have something together. Hi, Dawn. I usually have some kind of outline together when I do all my Zen Mondays. I want to be organized and structured and know what I want to share with you guys. And today, I think I'm still learning so much from my experience over the 10 days being completely silent. I've shared with a couple of friends, but I'm still trying to figure out, I don't know. I think I'm still learning a lot of it, so I don't have anything written, put together. I just want to share a little bit of what I learned, why I did it. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to ask me. And like I said, I'm planning on writing an article. I want to do a longer, more non-live video on YouTube because there's so much that I learned. And I truly feel that my message here is that if this is at all of interest, if this is winking at you, I hope that me sharing my experience, maybe you'll get to the other side and you'll challenge yourself to go. So let me begin. So let me share with you guys why I did this. So I had read about this a couple years ago. I think it was in a magazine, an article, something or other. 10-day silent meditation. And part of me was like, there's no way. And the other part of me was so intrigued about it. I just thought it was kind of crazy and extreme, but I tend to be extreme and, why not a little crazy. So back in those days, I was still working in corporate. So, if you guys are in corporate, most of you have been in corporate that listen to me or follow me or support me. It's really hard to take 10 days, and especially if it's 10 days for this one thing, right? So it's usually Christmas or a holiday and your birthday and so forth. You're done with the 10 days or your 3 weeks. So I think part of me was like, there's no way I can be gone for 10 days. So I kind of put it in the back of my head. Earlier this year, a really good friend of mine, I've met her for dinner, and somehow she brought it up again. She's like, Steph, have you ever been on a silent meditation retreat? And I said, no, but I've been wanting to go. And now that I have my business, what's up, Jesse? Now that I have my business, now that I have a little bit more freedom with vacation days, I said, you know what? This is the year. So I went to the website. It's called dhamma.org. So DHAMMA.org. You can apply, and the application is just because it's literally waiting list upon waiting list upon waiting list. So I applied to 3 different ones this year. The first 2, I couldn't make it, and the third one I got in, and that's what November 28th. So it was November 28th through December 9th. The reason for me why I wanted to go, and I think it varies for everybody, I wanted to be able to tune in from all distractions. I think it's so rare, unless you maybe go on a vacation when the self-service is bad, but it's so rare that we get the opportunity to completely be off your phone. And that was personally something that never really intimidated me about this. Even though I had a business, I had emailed all my clients, I talked to them, I put in an office, which I had not put in an office, you guys, since I left corporate. So that was kind of fun. But outside of that, the silence didn't intimidate me at all. So what it is you check in, you give in your phone, I give in my journal. So I took a train, I did the one in Massachusetts, and because you're not allowed to write or read or anything for that matter. So, okay, so I got in. So part of me was what is it going to be like if I'm in complete silence? I want to be able to get to know my thoughts. You know how they say, like, so many of our thoughts are part of things in our society, things that we're on Instagram or we're reading on TV, and we're so much affected by our society, our culture, our surroundings, that it starts to get fuzzy, like which ones are my thoughts and which ones are thoughts that I've just picked up from others, and it's hard to differentiate. So part of me was like, if I'm in complete silence, eventually, after a few days, I must get to my own thoughts. The other part of it is I tend to be one that numbs. So whether through drinking or sleeping, working out, some other substances from time to time, I tend to numb and avoid feelings because I'm the kind of person that I'm super sensitive. I am such an empath. And sometimes when I'm feeling too much, I get overwhelmed and I don't know if I'm able to fully trust that I'm able to understand my emotions. So instead of let me explore my emotions, I'm like, oh, let me just numb, go to a movie, read. So in these 10 days, clearly you're not drinking, you're not, you have a pretty strict schedule for the most part. So I said to myself, look, if, I'm also a coach. I'm also, doing personal growth, and I love that part of me. So I think it was a test for me to see if, am I able to face my emotions without numbing? Am I able to listen to my thoughts without avoiding? I'm not going to have any distractions. It's just me and my thoughts. So I think that was a part of me that I was really curious to see, who is Stephanie without any distractions? And is she capable of being with her emotions, right? Without such an easy turn on the TV, have a glass of wine, even though this is not numbing, this is purely fun. So that was the other part of me. And then the last part about me was I'm really seeking to find that inner peace. Truly, what is that stillness? And I live in New York City and it's a constant go. What does it really feel like to be in complete silence? Will I be able to find that inner peace that people are talking about it, or that writers and authors talk about? I found my inner peace. I found that inner stillness. I'm like, damn, I want that without, again, any additional substances, drugs, alcohol, sleeping, whatever. Romina, so interesting experience. I'm proud that you could do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you guys have any questions throughout, ask them away and I'm happy to answer. I am an open book. So it's really interesting. So on a personal note, I told, my husband is super supportive, but it doesn't mean that we're very different. So I told a couple of my friends, I kept this pretty much to myself. I didn't read a lot of blogs about it because I didn't want any of other people's opinions to get in my head. I had already decided I was going to do it. I think it was part of my journey in this lifetime. I got accepted. The dates worked out perfectly. So one weekend, about a month before I left, my family came to town, my dad, my mom, and you guys know this. I'm super close with my family. I respect my parents and my husband more than anything. So I told my mom, I was like, listen, we were walking in Central Park. My dad was talking to Dwayne, my husband. I was talking to my mom. Tell my mom, and she's like, oh, honey, that's amazing. I have a couple friends that have done it. Great, you're gonna learn so much. And my mom and I connect a lot on a spiritual level, whereas my dad and I connect a lot more on a practical, corporate, business type of connection. Great. Then we get to lunch, and I had told my husband, Dwayne, but I tell my dad, and my dad was like, what? No, that is crazy. No, don't do it, this and that. And Dwayne felt the same way, like as supportive as they are, because they are so supportive of me as a person. Their brain did not comprehend why anybody would go on a 10-day silent retreat without any access. So it was so funny because I started laughing, and of course I considered their thoughts, but I told them both. I said, listen, unless, knock on wood, there is a surgery or a health concern that you need me to be here present, you need to figure out a way to be comfortable with me going for 10 days. Like, this is not for me to comfort your feelings. I'm going to go regardless. This is for you to figure out why is this triggering you or why this is so crazy. It's not for me to do that. So little by little, they asked a lot of questions. I gave all the information possible. and they became more and more supportive. And, before I left, it was full support, even though it might be something that it's not for them to do in this lifetime. So you get to the silent retreat. So it's about 50 women, 50 men. You are completely separated, male and female. So you have a meditation hall where you come together and you meditate 3 times a day. But so you see the male counterpart, but outside of that, you are completely separate. So before I continue sharing how the days are divided, let me tell you the root of what this is. So even though they call it a 10, and that's how it's more known, it's a 10-day silent retreat, yes. But it's so much more than that, because and I did not know this, guys, even before I went in. Like I said, I didn't go in, I went in for my specific purpose. I didn't know much about anything about it, really. Like, I read it on the website, I didn't understand all of it. I said, it's just, this is something I need to do. But basically, this is a meditation. This is like for me, it was just everything. This is a meditation that the Buddha discovered about 3,000 years ago. And what he discovered, and I'll keep it, it's oversimplified, but I think simple is better. It just makes it easier to understand. So what he discovered was, nature has constant changes, right? Nature is constantly changing. If you're tuning in, I am sharing with you guys my 10-day silent retreat experience. So this is the meditation you learned, that what the Buddha discovered. Nature is constantly changing. Leaves have flowers and then they die, but then they're rebirth. Sun rises and then the sun comes down every day. It rains, but then it's sunny, right? Things are constantly changing. So that is nature. It's always been like that. It will always be like that. Nature is constantly changing. It's not reacting to the changes. Like if the petals fall, they're not like, oh, my petals fell, I'm so sad. It's like, they're fell now, and tomorrow I'm going to bloom again, right? They're very equanimous about it. They're non-reactive. So his discovery was, nature has been like that for thousands, millions of years, and will always be like that. Humans, on the other hand, we're also constantly changing. So we're sad, but then we're happy. We're happy, but then we're sad again. We break up, we get our hearts broken, but then we fall in love again, right? Like, it's the same. It's a parallel experience. So if the way we allow and honor the changes that we are going through is by feeling our sensations in our body. So in essence, whatever we feel in our body, whether we have a headache, our shoulders are a little tight, this is the little caveat. Yes, this doesn't mean like if you fell and you broke your leg, I'm not talking about that. But if you're feeling tight, if you have a headache, if your muscles are a little tight, if you observe that sensation of your body, you are equanimous towards that sensation in your body. You observe it, it rises and it falls. You have a headache and then it goes away. You're not taking Tylenol, you're not taking Advil, you're not like, oh my God, I might have a brain tumor. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean? You're like, I have a headache. Then 10 minutes later it's gone. You observe it. So what he discovered was, if we observe the sensations in our body, we are honoring for the changes that are happening in our lives anyways. If we honor those changes, our lives are so much easier, because this is what happens. And so far, if you guys have any questions, ask me. So this is what happens. If we don't honor, I close my eyes because it's just easier for me to remember what I learned. So if we don't honor the changes in our lives, so I have a headache every single day, taking Advil every single day, I'm not honoring, I'm trying to stop it. You are avoiding for a change. You clearly have a headache because there is a change happening in your life. Maybe you ate too much sugar, but So when we avoid and when we don't honor our own changes, it leads to 2 things. First of all, it's misery. It leads to 2 things. It either leads to craving every day. I'm going to take Advil because that's the only way that I cure my headaches. Advil, and maybe you take 2 a day and then 6 a day and then 12 a day. I used to take 12 Advils a day at some point in my life when I had cramps. Anyways, it leads to cravings. Or it leads to aversion. You start avoiding things in your life. Oh my God, every time I eat too much sugar, I get a headache. I'm going to stop eating sugar. Every time I hang out with my friend, I get a headache. You stop hanging out with your friend. That's no way to live life. You can't live life avoiding things, right? So when you are not honoring the changes within you, it's either going to lead you to craving things, or avoiding things. If you crave things or avoid things, you end up being more miserable. Because can you imagine a life that's constantly being like craving? It's based on the past. Because I did it before, it cured my headache, I'm going to continuously doing that. What about the day you run out of Advil? What about the day that your body has become so immune to Advil that it doesn't even work? So what? You're going to start like, I don't know, sedating yourself with morphine or whatever? No, right? So he discovered, which is so beautiful, that if you allow and you observe whatever sensations are going on in your body, that's not going to lead you to misery. It's actually going to keep you like free from misery. It is unbelievable. So that was his huge discovery. So Buddha discovered this link 3,000 years ago, long time. This gentleman by the name of Goenka, beautiful Indian gentleman. It's a prolific poet. He now passed away. But Goenka, in essence, rediscovered this and brought it back to the 21st century. So he founded this organization called Dhamma. Dhamma in Pali, which was the language of the Buddha, means the law of nature, the law of change. So that's basically what you learn in those 10 days. So I'll give you like a little bit of a preview. That's what you learn. And then you can bring this for the rest of your life. The beautiful thing is now I do this technique. Ideally, you do it twice a day for an hour. I've done it once a day for an hour in the days that I'm home. If I'm like, oh man, I really want to watch a show, but I could do this again, then I do it twice a day. But the thing is, the more you do this technique, you literally breathe, you go through every single part of your body, you observe the sensations, you start becoming equanimous with the sensation. So let's say my neck was hurting today. Instead of being like, oh my God, my neck's getting tight, I've been writing too much, I'm getting stressed out, I need to get a massage. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna observe. And then, a couple days later, it goes away. The more you do that, I'm not reacting to my neck being in pain, I'm just observing, most likely it's going to go away, because also these pains and these sensations are all psychosomatic. Some of them are legit, but some of them aren't. They're just our minds manifesting through that. So the more you can become equanimous, meaning non-reactive to those sensations, that starts bleeding into your life. So tomorrow, when somebody pisses you off, you're not going to get triggered. You're going to be like, oh, that's interesting. I'm getting super triggered about this person irritating me. All right, I wonder what I can work. I wonder what's triggering that in me. Isn't it beautiful? To know that eventually after doing this, ongoing, you can lead a life like, you picture Buddha sitting on his little tree being all smiling. It's because he knew what he had to do in order to become equanimous in life. So if you're happy, you can enjoy your happiness, but you can also observe it because, tomorrow you're going to be sad. Tomorrow, the next day, if you lose your job, yes, it sucks, but you're not going to be jobless for the rest of your life. Right? Like you're going to find another job. If you get broken up with, it sucks, but you observe it and you're like, wow, this is super painful. But then you know that you're going to find somebody to love and somebody that loves you. So it allows you to observe life just like nature does. You observe, you don't react, and it's going to change because everything arises and falls. Everything rises and falls, rises and falls. The river flows through it. Like that's how everything changes in life. So the biggest thing that I've learned in this 10-day retreat, and then I'll share with you guys a little bit more of what we did, is before, when I was in misery, when I was miserable, when I was sad, I, like most people, I tend to go to an external source to heal my misery. Whether it's drinking, whether it's food, whether it's calling my parents or my little sister, or wanting to feel validated by my husband. You seek external, watching TV. I seek external things to make me feel better. Never freaking works. You eat the whole ice cream pint, gallon, whatever, still feel shitty after. You actually feel worse because now, your tummy hurts and you feel guilty. You're trying to seek validation from, externally, when in reality, it's about learning how to validate yourself, right? So the biggest thing that I've learned in this 10-day silent retreat, this meditation, it's called Vipassana, is that I have a tool that I'm able to use to help me internally. So now when I'm feeling like, oh my God, I don't feel good, I'm miserable, I'm sad, let me observe the sensations in my body. Let me observe, let me allow, let me honor them. Listen, I'm not saying, I'll give you an example. I got back on Sunday a week ago Monday, I had a little bit of withdrawals because you meditate for 12 hours a day, you're complete silence. I mean, the food is delicious, the place is gorgeous. So yes, besides silence and no phone, it's a really beautiful experience. So I get back into New York City. It's crazy. I hosted a TEDx on Sunday. Anyways, all these things. Monday comes and I'm like, all right, I'm kind of feeling a little funky. I didn't know why. So I'm like, well, I was observing myself. I said, instead of kind of just being in this funk, what can I do? So I started thinking, let me start cooking. Cooking kind of, it's a little bit of a distraction, but you're still present. So I'm cooking all these things. 5:30, 6 o'clock comes, and I'm like, oh, I'm still not feeling good. Let me have a glass of wine, right? Numbing. So I was able to observe myself. I'm like, am I having a glass of wine because it's fun and it's the holiday season, or am I having a glass of wine because I want to feel better? Immediately I knew I wanted a glass of wine because I wanted to feel better. I'm like, I'm not. No, I'm practicing what I've learned. Go take a shower, do a face mask, trying to journal. 8:39 comes, my husband is still not home, I'm still not feeling good. So I'm like, you know what, Steph? Do what you've learned. I sit on the couch, I light a candle, watching out the window, observing my emotions. Okay, all of a sudden I get tears start falling down my eyes. Tears, tears, tears. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, but that's what led me to think, this is me processing my emotions. The tears lasted not even 10 minutes. Meaning if I would have observed my emotions 6 hours earlier, I would have not had to be in this sort of misery state for 8 hours. But I was kind of pushing, cooking this, like ignoring. I was like, let me just sit and observe my emotions. Less than 10 minutes went by, had the tears, I felt immediately better. So it's such a beautiful technique that I literally get to use for the rest of my life. And the more I use it, I'm sure the easier it's gonna get, because I'm still find myself being like, oh, I don't feel good, let me eat something. Oh, I don't feel good, let me have a glass of wine. So now I'm still learning. I'm not saying you're like immediately healed, but it's such a huge transformation, right? Let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, here's a question. In those 10 days in silence, you never had the chance to talk to anybody. Okay, such a good question. So in the 10 days, you have the chance to, you have an assistant teacher. You have a female and a male assistant teacher, and you get to talk to her if you want for 5 minutes every day. So during lunchtime, there is a sign-up sheet, and you get to put your name, and you get to talk to her for 5 minutes. There's also a course manager. So if you have any questions, like one day I was freezing and I was like, you guys have like any little heaters? And they had like this little baby heater. So, you know, if there's anything going on, yes, you have a chance to ask. But between the 50 women, it's what they call noble silence. So you are in complete silence. On the last day, on day 10, before we left on day 11, we were able to break the noble silence, which was really nice, but we still did the same things we did throughout the day. The noble silence is so great because when you are in silence, your mind, it's so much more quiet. So when you're meditating 12 hours a day, you want your mind to work for you, right? So that was the other thing why I went there. We look at our minds like our minds are so special, like, ooh, I'm so smart, I'm so special. No, I mean, you can be, but your mind is an organ, just like any other organ in your body. So just like when you have to go to the bathroom, let's say like you have to go pee, and you tell your bladder, all right, buddy, there's not a bathroom near inside, I can't pee for the next 3 hours, right? So you don't pee. I mean, yes, there's people with medical issues, but outside of that, you control your bladder and you're like, I'm not peeing for 3 hours. You don't pee for 3 hours. Versus the mind, we've never trained it to work for us. The mind is just like, I'm like a little toddler. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. I'm sorry if, I don't care if you want to do it or not, which is bananas. Because it's like, so for me, I went on this retreat also because I'm like, I want to learn how to manage and control my mind instead of my mind controlling me. So you absolutely get to do that by not talking, by being in silence. You get to understand your thoughts better. You get to understand when your mind freaks out more and able to calm it. And then you're able to say like, excuse me, I'm the one running the ship, not you. After 10 days, I believe in anything of total immersion. So if you want to learn something, do it fully immersed. So after 10 days, complete silence, 12 hours of meditation, trust me, the mind begins to understand that it's not in control, I am in control. Here's another question. Did you lose any weight with the change of diet? I'm asking because I lost 7 pounds. It was like a full detox, mind, body, soul. I love it. So I've gone into practice. I do not weigh myself often, but I did notice that usually when I lose weight, like my face gets a little bit leaner. You wear sweatpants the entire time, and sweatpants are not body fitting. So, but when I got back and I started wearing like regular clothes, they were a little bit looser. So I'm sure I did lose some weight. The thing with the food, so the way I'll give you guys a little bit, and then I think I'm gonna do a part 2 next week. That way I can get a little bit more into detail. But the way it works is that you wake up every day at 4 in the morning, and it's honestly, I wake up early, but if I would have known that before, that would have been like, damn. But it was totally fine. You wake up every day at 4. You meditate from 4:30 to 6:30 in the morning. You can either do this in your room or in the meditation hall. I always meditated in the meditation hall because I tried a couple times in my room and I used to fall asleep. So I learned that earlier on. At 6:30 in the morning, you have breakfast. 6:30 to 8. Breakfast was always like oatmeal, fruits, peanut butter, toast, delicious. They do have coffee. I chose not to have any caffeine because I kind of wanted to just be super clean and really connect with myself. Then you meditate again from 8 to 11 in the morning. 8 to 9, you do it in group. And then 9 to 11 in the meditation hall by yourself. 11, you have lunch. So 11 to 1, you have a lunch break and rest, right? So you can take a shower. Lunch was delicious to where on the last day I literally asked them, I was like, listen, is there any way that you guys can share the recipes, because they were so good? And they did. It was online, but it's some kind of like, brown rice, white rice. We had like mac and cheese, veggies, salads. One day they made like pumpkin gingerbread, which was so good. So the food was like delicious. And then so you 11:30 to 1, then you meditate again from 1 to 5, and at 5 o'clock you have a tea break. So you don't have dinner, but you have tea and fruit. 5 to 6, and then you meditate again from 6 to 9. And then from 7 to 8, you watch a video. It's a discourse on Goenka, the gentleman who rediscovered this meditation. And he talks about the techniques that you are learning. He's super charming and just kind of like really easy to hear. So that was like another thing that I really enjoyed every night, to hear him and his experience and, all the great things that he was able to do. Lastly, this is completely free. So this center, it's kind of unbelievable, but it kind of restored my faith in humanity. So it's completely donation based. The one I went to was in Massachusetts in Greenfield. It's called the Shelbourne Center. It's a $4 million building. It's been around for about 15-20 years, completely built based on donations. I mean, that to me is completely astounding. I don't know what word I'm trying to say, but it's completely beautiful to say that everybody has gone to this 10-day meditation, their life has changed, and now you feel called to give back. So you give back because it's like somebody paid for me to go on this 10-day silent retreat. It changed my life, so I want to pay forward to somebody else to do that. You can also donate your time. They're looking to open one in New York City, so you can stay tuned. The website again is dhamma.org, DHAMMA.org. So as we close, do you guys have any questions? Any kind of like, oh my God, this is crazy, or I totally think, are you considering doing it? They also have 3 days, so they do have a 3-day in New York City. They also have a 5-day, a 10-day, a 45-day, a 60-day. So if, as you're listening to this, I know a lot of people listen to this later on, I will be posting it on YouTube. If you have any questions, if this is kind of calling you and you're intrigued and there's something in particular that you want to know, please ask me. For me, I'm like so, I guess, inspired to share what I learned in this 10-day silent meditation retreat, because I know it's a life-changing experience for me, and I have no doubt that anybody can go 10 days without talking. It's actually super refreshing, and I have no doubt that anybody that goes, their lives will be changed. They are international, they're global, so wherever you're listening from, check it out, sign up, do this for you. And 10 days, I feel like it's not a long time to know that your life will be changed in the process. Not only your life, but those around you. The happier I become, the happier my husband, my family will become, because the less mean or triggered I am. When do you think your next one will be? Oh my God, I definitely want to do it. I definitely want to do it annually. What I'm thinking is I would love to volunteer for the next one. So I may do like 1 year volunteer and then 1 year go. When you volunteer, you can go like a 5-day one. So I'm thinking maybe I'll volunteer 5-day. But I think, Jesse, this is something definitely that I will do annually, as long as I can. I don't see why I wouldn't. Which is another benefit of having your business. You have that freedom in time. Maybe once I have kids, that might be different for a few years. But for now, it's just, oh my God, it was such a beautiful experience. The place is really clean. It was right behind a mountain, so you get to walk. I walked a couple days in the mountain. It was so, so beautiful. So I will, if you have any questions, DM me. I'm going to write an article. It might take me maybe like a month or two, because I really kind of want to get clear on what my message is. I'll be doing maybe a part 2 of this next week. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for listening. I'll be back next Monday for another Zen Mondays. I wish you guys the best holiday season ever. Spread your joy, follow your joy. Don't get caught up in the cooking and the gifting and the stress, and just tune that out, man, and have a good time. Do the things that make you happy. Say no more often. Have less things on your calendar, and spend more time with your friends and your family. I love you so very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being so supportive. And again, reach out if you have any questions. Lastly, if you're looking for a coach or energy healing by the end of the year, let me know. That's what my business is all about. And I am taking new clients. So I would love to, if you guys know me, if you know a friend, send them my way. I would love to have that conversation with them and see if it's a good mutual fit for each other. And lastly, if you're in the city, I'm going to be on Friday at the Alchemist Kitchen doing angel readings. So it's 20 minutes, $20, mini angel readings from 6 to 8:30 p.m. I think it is, or 5 to 8. So the Alchemist Kitchen is on the Lower East Side. So let me know. I would love to see you. Love you guys. Happy holidays, and see you around. Take care.